General Mark Kimmitt joins me now live from Washington, D.C. It's a pleasure having you on the program. Now, there are many concerns right now over the direction this war may take. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov has even warned today of the real danger of a nuclear World War III. General Kimmitt, drawing from your extensive military background, what's your biggest worry at the moment?
Well, of course, we would be most worried about nuclear war, but I think that right now is quite a low probability. Candidly, the thing I'm most concerned about is the health and physical makeup right now of President Zelensky. We learned in the military long ago that you can go about 72 to a little more than 72 hours without sleep and rest. And after that, you start making bad decisions when you're exhausted. And you start losing it a little bit. What I'm concerned about is I see President Zelensky in an interview yesterday. He is tired. He is fatigued. He's got the weight of his entire country on his shoulders. And in many ways, he represents the country and is the biggest cheerleader for the country. And I worry that if he either goes down from exhaustion or sickness, the impact it might have on the overall effort inside Ukraine.
Let's talk a bit about these ceasefire talks. The second round is supposed to take place.
Yep.
I mean, little is expected to come out of those talks, but they're still being held anyway. Why?
Well, I think Russia has got to put on this fiction that is trying to be a reasonable actor and trying to use diplomacy to resolve what they see as a diplomatic question. Well, we all know that's a ruse. We all know that this is just lip service to diplomacy and allows them to convince the very few people that support them that they are trying to use other methods than military warfare to resolve the situation they have with Ukraine.
I want to take a look at the position the U.S. is taking. One of the recent measures that Biden took was a no-fly order for Russian flights in U.S. airspace. Can we expect similar restrictions to follow, and how effective are they really on Russia?
Well, I think the United States and its partners in Europe and elsewhere will use any sanction necessary to end this conflict inside of Ukraine and have Russia go back within its borders. I think that they have put out a significant series thus far of financial and economic sanctions and other clever devices, such as a special prosecutor for oligarchs, and other techniques such as taking them out of the SWIFT system. So I believe the United States will use anything in its capability, economically or financially, to cripple the Russian economy until they reverse the decision about the attack inside of Ukraine.
I want to go back to talking about the state that Zelensky is currently in. You say you're worried about his health. He doesn't seem to be getting much rest. What is he supposed to do in this situation? I mean, what are the repercussions of being in this state going to be?
Well, I think two things. Number one, he is the totem. He is almost a mythic character inside of Ukraine right now. He is the binding glue that's keeping the morale of the Ukrainian people together. If he becomes subject to exhaustion or is unable to get in front of the camera, he has nobody behind him. So he needs to get a spokesman or spokeswoman. He needs to have his own cabinet out there in front of the cameras as well. He needs somebody other than himself to rally the troops and the people of Ukraine to sustain this fight.
Right, and we're seeing that the West is determined to continue mounting pressure on Russia, whether it be with sanctions or other measures that they're taking at the moment, and a lot has already been done on that front. And frankly, the Russian people aren't too happy with the effects that this conflict is having and will essentially have in the future on their economy.
Oh, that's exactly true. While sanctions aren't the most effective tool for resolving conflicts, in fact, the record of sanctions is quite weak. One thing is absolute in the study of sanctions, and that it affects the people far more than it affects the oligarchs and the leaders inside the country. It doesn't do what it is meant to do, which is to change the leader's behavior on the decisions he has made. And as a result, the people suffer as these sanctions continue to go on. If you take a look at the price of the ruble, if you take a look at the fact that a lot of you're starting to see a lot of shortages inside the stores. This is going to be felt most heavily by the people, the women, the children inside of Russia. And that's why the United States and all the NATO countries and all the European countries, in fact, most of the world, call on President Putin to end this illegal, immoral war inside of Ukraine and return your troops to inside their borders and respect the sovereign rights of Ukraine.
All right, General, thank you so much for sharing that insight with us here on Tier 2 World. It was a pleasure speaking to you.